Hey guys, Plasticon here. This is a bit of more of an inspirational video. This is kind of dealing with more of my filmmaker aspect of my life. The big thing is, when I was a kid, I was inspired by Star Wars. When I got to see Return of the Jedi when I was a child, I really loved that movie. And later on, as the toys started coming out and all the kind of the cartoon and hype, and because there was droids, because the cartoon droids came out, it was kind of cool too. I thought it was kind of cutesy, but hey, it was funny. Everybody watched Gummy Bears and stuff like that, and so I don't know. Well, it was more, I would say it was more Care Bear style, but it was still cool. Anyhow, with all these types of inspirations throughout the entire time when Star Wars came out, along with the making ofs, because they were running reruns of the making of Empire Strikes Back shortly after Return of the Jedi was put in theaters. A lot of it was a lot of hype in order to really bump this movie. And a lot of guys out there don't understand there's a lot of stuff that goes behind making a movie. And it's just one of those things that a lot of folks don't really tend to grasp, really. I mean, it's one of those things that movie inspired me to want to pick up a camera and not even just pick up toys, but to make toys that if I was to film them, they would look so real. And it was just the techniques behind doing that, and the techniques of even like the puppetry and the designs that they came up with were just phenomenal. I mean, when I saw the artwork for some of the concept designs for like even the very first Star Wars, it just inspired me because it struck something in my brain that's just like, wow, this is amazing. And a little bit later on in life, I came across a movie called Blade Runner. And I was completely floored by the art direction, how deep that story goes. Because a lot of folks that don't really know much about Blade Runner didn't really read the book. You know, the book called Android's Dream of Electric Sheep. And it was a really good book, very, very highly sought after. And there's quite a few audiobooks out there too for you guys that want to listen to the book instead of reading it yourself. Not just the story though, it was just the filmmaking that went on behind that when I found out how much really went into that movie. It's just something about seeing some of the looks that the lighting director put on folks. I mean, they really did such a phenomenal job giving these guys like just the most perfect look. Like, to me, when I watched the movie, yes, it felt like a detective story. I kind of really felt like the guy that just sat back and watched like that old, film noir detective stories from like the 30s and the 40s and the 50s. Just those old detective stories is what it really felt like to me when I got to watch it. I wasn't expecting anything like aliens jumping out of the walls or anything crazy. And then, like I said, once I started finding out more about the movie and more about the books and what they did and how they filmed it all, it really did start inspiring me even more. And a lot of this is mainly because I love art direction. I am more of an art direction kind of person. I don't really tend to write a lot of my own scripts or anything like that at all. I tend to just do a lot of stuff unscripted because I'm more after the visuals of most things. But that's just me because I am more of a filmmaker in that kind of aspect. Now, there are a lot of guys out there that are really good at like doing like the sound, making the sound just sound insane. And then you got guys out there that are really, really, really good at getting the correct performances out of their actors. But some of the things I've noticed throughout the entire years is the fact that just filming stuff by myself, creating something that seems like it's real, but it's not. It's so satisfying to be able to put something like that on film. And to make it so that way it just really inspires people and talks to folks. And there's a lot of times that I put stuff together that is not a real thing, but I tend to try to put a little bit of something into it, some type of art. I am more of a practical effects artist. I don't tend to use a lot of CG stuff. This is a green screen behind me, and I tend to try to do stuff that's a little bit different because I don't really want to be like all the rest of the guys out there that's making films. I want to, stand out a little bit. Be that one guy that's against the grain, the guy that doesn't really want to go into, the effects of building, everything on a computer and then putting it on, an actual film. I actually like the idea of using, the idea that they would mask out and then they would have an artist come in and draw on glass, and they would basically have that image that they put on the wall that's from the film. The artist would draw in to make everything match, paint everything to match, and then they would turn back around and shoot that with the image moving. And obviously, that one still thing wouldn't move at all, but it was only normally for maybe about not even 8 seconds of film, but they would bring in an artist just to paint on glass so that way they can shoot that direction, to make it so that way it actually filled in the spot that they couldn't put in with real life. Because there are a lot of shots in Blade Runner that a lot of folks don't really realize that are completely done in camera, and there was no computer effects, because back then there were no computer effects. By the time Blade Runner was made, a lot of the techniques were perfected at that point for everything to be done in camera, instead of bringing in a digital effect or something like that. It's where they basically would have to run the film back and shoot it over, run the film back and shoot it over. And there's times they would almost shred the film because it had been ran back so many times to have something overlaid on it. And the emulsion within the film would allow it to happen that way. Now there are a lot of things out there that, when it comes to being inspired as a filmmaker, to me, I think you guys should just find that one thing that really inspires you to make stuff. If you're a toy reviewer, toys inspire you, make those reviews. But if you're one of those guys out there that really wants to kind of push yourself a little above and beyond, step out of that realm. Create that thing that everybody thinks you can't do. Because those are the things that will actually get you further in life. When you're able to push yourself beyond that boundary, that's whenever you're actually going to find things that you didn't know what you could do. I myself, as a filmmaker, I've done that myself. And I understand 100% how much time it takes to put in just to get that one beautiful shot that you want. Anyhow, it's been Plasticon. This has been a bit of an inspirational vlog to all my filmmaker guys out there. And I will catch you guys around, because I'll end up having more of this kind of stuff coming your way. Peace out, you guys.